Hello, my name is Elizabeth Woodward, and I'm coming to you today from Lexington, Kentucky. On behalf of the AICPA, it's the end of 2017 right now. I'm currently serving on the FLS committee, and I chair the Fraud Task Force. But I wanted to talk with you today about the CFF Credential and why it has been important to me. In many ways, I think it really changed the trajectory of my professional career in a good way. And so I wanted to share my thoughts on that. And so to join in the conversation, I've asked Carrie from our marketing department to kind of help lead me through this. So Carrie, welcome.
Thank you. All right, so let's start off. What does CFF stand for?
CFF is Certified in Financial Forensics.
And why is the credential important to you?
I think it's important to me for what it stands for. So let's talk first about how you get the credential. In order to be a CFF, you have to have a certain amount of experience in financial forensic type engagements, and you have to pass a test. Now, when I was grandfathered in, which means when the credential was established, I had enough work experience at that point that the work experience and the continuing education that I had was deemed adequate to get the credential.
And why did you decide to get it?
So when the credential came about, I had been doing this work since the early 2000s, and really I call myself a recovering auditor. I used to be a financial statement auditor, but when I started doing this type of work in the 2000s, it got to the point where I had such a heavy caseload that it was difficult to maintain a book of business in audit. So I started just doing this type of work. And so, you know, for CPAs, our code of conduct requires us to self-regulate and to manage our profession in such a way that the public can trust the credibility of our work. So when the AICPA came up with this credential, it was a way of telling the market, this is, you know, the skill set that we think is important for professionals that practice in this space. And so since I was practicing in that space, I certainly wanted to be one of the professionals that the AICPA considered worthy of doing the work.
Okay. And what's the perceived value of the CFF credential in the marketplace?
So I think, you know, to judges and attorneys and juries, those are the people that really need to evaluate the value of the credential. It's really, of course, the value of the knowledge that matters. The credential is just a sign that the person has the knowledge. And so I think as judges expect an expert witness, someone who's sitting on a stand swearing to tell the truth. They expect them to know how to do the work back at their desk in their offices, and also how to talk about it in a way that's meaningful and useful. And so I think, for example, what judges expect of experts, you know, we get that. We have to have, as I said, you have to have classes and pass a test to get the certification. And then we have to have 20 hours of continuing education every single year in this specialty. And so that allows us, to the extent the rules change, for example, by court decisions, the 20 hours of CPE a year helps us stay current with what judges expect and what courts across the country are saying is the right way to do the work.
So did the CFF credential help you grow your book of business?
I think it did. You know, I guess in some ways what came first, the chicken or the egg. I was already doing a lot of this work when I got the credential. I think if I were making the decision today, do I want the credential or not, I would look at how many people have it, and I would say if these are my competitors and attorneys are deciding who to hire, then obviously I would want to be credentialed to stay equal, not have someone have a hand up on me, if you will.
Would you recommend others in your firm to get the credential, or do you think it's enough that you have it?
I support anyone in our firm that does this work to have the credential. You know, our code, when I am the testifying expert and I supervise the work, I make sure that everyone working on the engagement is doing their work in the right way in accordance with what our profession and judges expect from us. But certainly to the extent it helps them to have the credential, and if they get to the point where they're testifying themselves and leading engagements, then I would certainly want them to have it. But as a practical matter, you know, you need several years of experience to even get the credential. So it would be normal that people starting their career entry level, medium level wouldn't be able to have the credential yet. They would be kind of in training for it.
And if a judge asked you to explain the importance of the credential, how would you respond?
I think the fact that the AICPA requires the base knowledge to earn the credential is probably what's most meaningful to a judge. If you look, every CPA has this experience of once you're a CPA, the public expects certain things from you. For example, they just expect you know how to do a tax return. They expect that you have a basic understanding of kind of the core knowledge that's required to pass the CPA exam. And so with the CFF, I would think it's the same way. It shows that you understand that body of knowledge that is in this area and this expertise. It also shows that you're committed to it and committed to continually getting better and lifelong learning in this subject area. And I think just this isn't because I have the credential, but I guess because I have the credential, I go annually to the AICPA conference. And at that conference over the past 17 years, I have developed some great professional relationships for other people across the country that do this type of work. And so it's really that CFF community that has helped me very much, because when I face issues in my client work, if I haven't dealt with them before, I can reach out to anyone I've met at a conference and get their insight and input, and it helps me, I think, do my work at a higher level.
Great. Well, thank you, Elizabeth.
So, thank you. I've enjoyed it, and thank you all. If you have any questions about the CFF credential, contact the AICPA.